Radio, Peterborough's Muslim Community Radio. Broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Good evening and welcome to the Tech Factor, live on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM. You can also listen online at www. I think I've said that W once again, too many times, salamradio.co.uk, and watch us live on Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. I'm Akil, and with me tonight are Faisal and Joel. Tonight we are breaking down the biggest tech stories, but in plain English. No corporate waffle, no synergy, no revolutionary ecosystem experience nonsense. Just the facts, the impact, and what it means for normal people. Coming up tonight, we've got Apple's WWDC and the next wave of Apple intelligence, the proposed UK social media ban for under 16s, Apple's huge price increases and whether consumers are being squeezed, Google I.O. and the rise of Agentic AI, and of course some cool tech stories, tech facts, and enough banter to make Joel regret turning up. Faisal, you are here as our resident turn it off and on again specialist. Joel, you are here to remind us that every problem can be solved either with AI, a firmware update, or blaming Wi-Fi.
Absolutely. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. You can get involved in the show. You can call us on 01733 602 133, text the show on 07411 191062, or comment on the live streams. We would love to hear from you. Here's a question for you though. Are we still in control of technology? Is technology now in control of us? Are we still in control of technology, or is technology now in control of us? Let us know, comment on the live stream. So tonight is a big one because all four stories are actually connected. Apple is pushing deeper into AI. Google is turning AI into agents that do things for you. And the UK government says children need protection from social media. And prices are going up because the AI boom is putting pressure on chips, memory and supply chain. So here's the question. Are big tech companies building the future for us, or are they building the future around us and then charging us monthly rent to live in it? Joel?
They're absolutely out for as much profit as possible. Yeah. I think companies currently are really getting stung for tokens when they start using generative AI and AI more. And I think we'll see that as a trend. And I think that, and I'm hoping that ultimately AI is going to be too expensive to replace humans with, and humans will retain their jobs.
Ooh, he said it here first. Faith, I'll put this to you. Are big tech companies building the future for us, or are they building the future around us and then charging us monthly rent to live in it?
I think the monthly rent model has been there for a while, but just to add on to what Joe just mentioned, in terms of AI, I don't think the companies are charging the level they should be charging in terms of what it's costing them. So from what I'm aware, a lot of these companies, they're currently not making a lot of money from, but for example, the AI companies, they're not making the money that they should be making. So we'll probably end up seeing ads in there, which OpenAI's started doing with ChatGPT. And they'll make it more expensive per month, and I agree with Joel. I think some of the jobs which we think they're going to be replaced, I don't think they'll be replaced anytime soon.
I think it's going to happen. They're going to start price gouging at some point, and that's when companies laid off their entire customer support team. They've replaced it with AI, and then they're just like, boom, let's go, increase token price, increase. Yeah. And then that company would be like, okay, let's get our humans back.
Not looking forward to that.
Yeah. Plus, I was watching something earlier on in the week where Ford Motor Group laid off their experienced engineering staff, put in AI, and then realized the quality wasn't good enough, and then they're in the process of rehiring those guys to train the AI system. I don't know if they're going to lose them again or they're going to keep them for the experience. So sometimes the hype of AI doesn't really solve the issues that humans can solve.
One thing that I've been saying recently as well in regards to people losing their jobs through AI and stuff like that is, I look at LinkedIn, I look at OpenAI's LinkedIn page, and you keep an eye on their jobs board, and they are recruiting globally for hundreds of positions. And I just think to myself, if the future is to replace everyone with AI, how can OpenAI be advertising for human jobs? The people that are pushing, one of the biggest AI developing, big tech companies out there, and yet they're hiring people into roles that arguably could be replaced. I'm talking like human resources roles and these kind of things, and customer service roles, security engineering roles and things like that. And I'm just thinking, hang on a second, how can one of the biggest AI companies out there be advertising for human jobs.
But
And
they
there's-
surely should be able to do this.
And they should be able to do it when there's other companies out there that are laying off big workforces to, replace them with AI. And I just think that, I'm not entirely sure that's a sustainable model at the moment.
Do you guys think we're going to have a bust moment in AI?
I think so. If you think about the dot-com time, I remember I was at uni at the time, and there's all this hype about
I thought you were
there's going to be there's going to be. I am young. There are going to be lots of job losses. It's going to completely change the way things are. It did change, obviously, in terms of the way we shop and the way we buy things. But how dramatic they were making it. Did you remember the Millennium Bug and all that?
I still remember
Over the top
countdown
stuff,
and everything,
and then it turns out it's not the hype that it was, and that's the thing. When it ends up in the news and in the consumer arena, it's all about sensationalizing a lot of things.
Without a shadow of a doubt, absolutely. Okay, let's turn to Apple then. Apple used WWDC 26 to preview the next generation of Apple Intelligence. Yes, I said it. A new Siri AI, stronger parental controls, a software updates across iOS, iPadOS, macOS, watchOS, visionOS, and tvOS. Apple says Siri AI will be able to understand what is on your screen, use personal context across apps, search through things like messages, emails, and photos, and use web information to answer questions. That is a major shift because for years, Siri has been an assistant that could set the timer, maybe call your mum, and then completely misunderstand everything else. So, Joe, let's be honest. Siri has spent the last decade behaving like it's on work experience, but this new version is different. Apple is trying to turn Siri from a voice assistant into a personal AI layer across the whole device. So this is not just about convenience anymore. This is about access to your context.
It is, and it's about Apple playing catch up.
Yes, I agree with you. So if an AI assistant understands your screen, your photos, your emails, your messages, your calendar, your apps, and your habits, then it becomes incredibly useful. But it also becomes incredibly powerful. So the question to both of you is, do we trust Apple because it talks a strong privacy game? Or should we be more cautious because even privacy-focused AI still depends on deep understanding your lives? Faisal?
I mean, just to go on to what Joel just mentioned about Apple playing catch up. You know what? Privacy is always an issue, whether it's Apple or whatever system it is. Unless you're subscribing to some business plan, most of the terms and conditions, if you look at even Gmail, the free version terms and conditions, you'll be shocked at how much information that they could potentially use that you think that they wouldn't use, especially what's in your emails. Whereas I think we should be looking at, is Apple going to just catch up to what Google Lens I'm not a big Google user, but in terms of Gemini, I think Gemini Live, it is, that's already doing what Apple is planning to do. So is it something new or,
we said it new in the Apple world. So look, they, sorry, I'll let Joel answer the question first and then I'll come in.
It's incredibly difficult to know, isn't it? We trust big tech, with everything every day, and one of the biggest and most trusted names out there is sort of taking it a step forward from where they are, and creating an agent that essentially can connect all of these things together for us, see our screens and everything. We've talked on previous shows about what Meta's doing with the Meta glasses and how that's being reviewed by human sensors and things like this. Can we trust Apple with it? Can we trust Google with it? Because don't forget, it's also, although they're using Google tech, but they are meant to be having it on Apple servers as well.
Yeah. So why actually go to Google?
So that's their word, and we have to take their word for gospel on that. As complete 100% transparency from Apple. Yeah, it's tricky, innit?
Okay, what I will say...
Unless they do a lot of the processing on the device.
I mean, they're going to be... That's interesting, isn't it? So some of it will be, but it won't actually go to a Google server, from what I understand.
From what I understand, it won't. Yeah. No, they're moving the Google, essentially AI models into an Apple environment, an Apple control, so they're not going out to third-party servers and stuff like that. So they will have their layers of data security there, but again, you just don't know what else these tech companies can necessarily do with that data. And
Interesting, isn't it? Well, I will say, I totally agree with you both. It is catch up, but it's also quite smart, because rather than spending all that money, they've got so much money, which we'll talk about later on in the show, about how much money they have and how they should be doing things for their consumers. But never mind, they can afford to essentially outsource this, because they have not been able to do anything, have they? I mean, if we look at when they first announced that we were going to have a really smart Siri, it flopped. The iPhone 16, I think it was supposed to come with it, or the 15, I can't remember.
16.
The 16 was supposed to come in and did not come with it at all, right? And they got in trouble for that, and so that's that side of things. The other thing is they spoke about stronger parental controls, where screen time updates, parents having more control over the devices, seeing who they can talk to, and what kind of apps that they're accessing. It reminded me of that software that we use, which is Custodio. So and all of this directly links into the discussion about the social media ban, doesn't it? Where you have control over device, AI, parental controls, what apps you're using, etc. But Apple says that it's making all of these devices safer and smarter. But is it enough? Can device-level parental controls restrict children from doing things they shouldn't do and turn parents into IT administrators?
two things, yeah. So the first thing, the pessimist in me, when I watched the WWDC, that was a 10-minute sales pitch. Buy your kids' iPhones.
Oh yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to get your kids' iPhones. I think
they're definitely going to be safer than Android.
Yeah, most of the features I felt that they were talking about, that already exists on Apple Family.
No, it doesn't.
Does it not?
Some of it does.
Some of it, but
Some
this is
like
a whole other
screening
level.
and
Yeah.
screen times and
That's basic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what was the more? You have to tell me.
So
what was the more advanced?
I would say certainly from the perspective of who they're talking to, what kind of communications are coming into the phone, what kind of apps they're accessing. I felt like some of it was taken from software called Custodio. Custodio is still way more stronger.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Some of the stuff is really there because I do use the Apple Family thing as well as Custodio for other devices, but I think it's more about. I mean, you can already control who they have, who they're communicating with. So you can have an approved list of people, and if they try to add someone else, you've got to approve that. So you can set that level of control. But one thing I felt it couldn't do currently was you couldn't, at a granular level, say, okay, I don't want him to use these specific apps for this purpose. Do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
Or restrict YouTube to a certain age limit. So
And
there
not
were
just-
certain
I
things.
like what you just said there, because
Yeah.
Custodio says, what I like about Custodio is you can also say they can't access YouTube via a browser. It's only in the app. How would
Yeah.
you compare the two? I mean, Custodio is fantastic.
Yeah, it is a lot better. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you can have it on multiple device types, you can have it on a PC, you can have it on consoles,
Yeah,
you can
that's
have it
right.
on all types
It's
of
phenomenal.
devices. Yeah.
It's a phenomenal piece of work there. Okay, so I guess we have to see as they roll that out how it actually looks, and someone from Facebook can finally come back to one more of our shows and tell us about the difference between.
I won't leave it so
Now-
long this time.
Oh, thank God. But the point being is what we're at today and what's actually coming down the track, because a lot of parents out there would like to know. Joel, from a tech point of view then, is Apple, I know you say that Apple is catching up on the AI, but would you say that we both know that it's arrived late, but do you think it's going to be a more polished experience?
I'm pleased that it's with Google. I want to put that. I definitely put that on record.
Because Google is excellent.
I'm happier that it's with them than someone else like Anthropic or OpenAI or someone else. Google is a name just like Apple that I feel carries a lot of trust with it. It's been around since the late mid 90s or whatever, and really Apple and Google together have grown up as big tech together. And I think that looking at the Google I/O stuff and seeing what Google are now doing and what they're sort of planning for the future of this kind of like generative AI, agentic helping on your device and stuff. If Google is pushing so hard in that sector, everybody that's got Apple will eventually get new features. So Google are pushing so hard on new features, to do with their Gemini, to do with the agentic AI and everything else that's coming through. That will have a trickle-down effect straight into Apple devices as well, without Apple having to spend, again, time developing and stuff like that. It's almost going to be just like hook and play and away you go. Both devices, Android and Apple, are going to be benefiting from really strong AI features and developments going forwards.
I agree with you, and I think the others. Look, we both know that, or about three of us know that Apple's ecosystem. That's where the strength is, isn't it? You know, they own the hardware, the software, the App Store, and the services layer. So just this integration now with Google just makes it such a smooth transition, is what we're saying. And time will tell how it goes. It's not just about selling phones anymore, is it? It's about who sells the rules on the phone.
Very good, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the UK social media ban for under 16s. So the UK government says it will ban social media for under 16s. It says its harmful features on other online services such as live streaming, strangers contacting children, will also be restricted to under 18s. The government says regulation should be laid before the end of 2026 with implementation planned for spring 2027. Now the government says its consultation showed 9 in 10 parents backed a social media ban for under 16s, and 2/3 of young people actually agreed under 16 should be allowed to use at least some social media platforms. So platforms expected to be in scope are Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook and X. This is all based on the Australian model. Messaging apps like WhatsApp and Signal are not intended to be included, which I found really interesting. This is one of the biggest questions of our time. Do children have a right to access social media, or do children have a right to be protected from social media? Because these two ideas are now literally colliding. On one side, you've got people say social media helps young people connect, learn, express themselves and access communities. And on the other side, parents are seeing anxiety, addiction, harmful content, bullying, unrealistic body image and sleep disruption and algorithmic rabbit holes. The question I have for you both, are they doing the right thing? Banning social media for under 16s.
I think it makes things easier for parents and teachers. I mean, our kids, especially the older two, they didn't have phones until they were 15, 16. But there's a lot of peer pressure. So our youngest, he's 14 now, and he's had a phone for 2 years, but he was never allowed to take it into school. And the reason was the school doesn't want it in school, but they couldn't prevent students from taking them to school. And what teachers were telling us is, as parents, you've done a good thing, because there's less issues when they don't have a phone. But then as a parent, I think certain situations I wish he did have a phone, so I can contact him and just message him, where are you, it's just for convenience, where to pick him up from. So it's one of those situations where I think it helps enforce controls. If they're on really late at night, you can enforce the parental controls, but what they go on. So if there's an excuse nowadays with my youngest is, I need Snapchat to communicate with my friends. And I say to him, well, why can't you use WhatsApp? Or my friends don't have a phone number. So then I say, why can't they use this app? So it's just one of those cycles round and around. So if it's banned, then I don't need to think about that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I like that. What do you think? Let us know. Would you support a ban for social media? Call us on 01733 602 133 or text us on 07411 191 Joel?
I think parents do not want to be IT administrators. So there are so many things out there that can help parents with screen time, with banning particular applications, with setting up spend limits, for online shopping and all the other things that are out there that can help. But the parents, I think, are using social media and don't see an issue with it, and therefore they don't see that issue then in the children themselves. So the government's now had to get involved, and they're bringing in laws to tighten that up. Think about seatbelts. Yeah, so seatbelts are invented and fitted into cars, can save your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, nobody used them until the government stepped in and made it law. Yeah, same sort of thing. So again, although that seatbelts and saving lives, this is still the government intervening, because I feel that there's, parents out there that are just not doing enough. They're not taking advantage of the tools. Quite a lot of the social medias that you listed there have got in their terms and conditions, nobody under the age of 16 should be using our application. Using our application, using our using our platform. And yet all the parents are signing their kids up themselves, going through the age verification process themsells.
Lying about the age.
Lying about the
actually,
age.
Snapchat is 13. It is
13.
Yeah.
I think YouTube, Facebook and Instagram, I think they're 16 plus.
Yeah.
they've all got TikTok. I think TikTok definitely has got then sort of like a parent master account and then child account. YouTube has got parent master account and child accounts and things like that. So they all have an element of control, but they are just clumsy and difficult and hard to set up, and people don't bother. And then it becomes a problem when your child is cyberbullied, or your child gets groomed, or your child feels terrible about themselves, or they can't, put their phone down at the weekend and all this kind of stuff. So I think there's lots of reasons to do it. In fact, I would probably go as far as to say it's not gone far enough, and I think that the government needs to address the addiction that adults have to social media and the echo chambers, and just the general horribleness of social media and the way that it is positioned in modern society. I think there should be tighter controls on advertising, tighter controls on algorithmic harvesting of data and regurgitation of data, and clamp down more on other nefarious uses and things that are uploaded to social media, not just for teenagers, but for the entire of society. And there we go. Sorry about that.
No,
heavy. Heavy.
That's really heavy.
He's got it off his chest, hasn't he?
Yes,
Someone's lost their Cat 6, haven't they?
Who gave him a platform? A box to stand on.
So how technically enforceable is this? Because, if a teenager can bypass school Wi-Fi, I also know somebody, who's a friend of mine. He also hacked into his school system many, many years ago, and he got caught. And as a teenager, he was a very smart person. And that just gives you an example about how tenacious young people can be.
People are already talking about VPNs.
Yeah.
To get past sort of like the age one. Then people are talking about this again. They're talking
People are talking about using a
VPNs.
photograph.
Yeah.
When they're doing an age check, and they can use a photograph, and the algorithm goes, oh yeah, that's an adult.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and VPNs just pretend you're in a different country that that isn't Australia or the UK that hasn't got these social medias banned and things like that. So,
you mentioned VPNs. Okay, so there are privacy concerns. So research on the UK Online Safety Act found that regulatory milestones were linked with big increases in VPN-related discussion among UK-based Reddit users, including a staggering 415% rise around the adult content age verification deadline, and the UK VPN search interest rose by 89% at that deadline. So the study argues that online safety rules can create secondary privacy risks when people look for ways around checks.
Yeah, I think the only way is probably government issued ID.
Oh my God! Has he just said that?
And you know how LinkedIn. No, I didn't mean that. So, for example,
they've talked about
LinkedIn.
They've talked about online ID.
Yeah, online IDs. Yeah, online IDs. So, for example, when you have a LinkedIn account, I'm sure you've got to upload. Well, I'm 90% certain I had to verify my ID using a driving license.
I did driving license for that. Driving license for Facebook. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so in the same way, if every platform requires you to upload the government ID, then that's it. That's the way around it, isn't it? So if you've got a VPN and you're in Bulgaria or something, you'll have to upload a Bulgarian ID to verify yourself.
But what's interesting is the government's emphasised that parents will not face penalties if their children find a workaround. So it is the legal responsibility rests entirely with the platforms.
I think that's unfair.
The social media companies are required to implement robust age verification checks and allow users to create and access accounts.
Okay,
so if they've already got accounts, that have already been manipulated in some way to make your 10-year-old appear 16, putting in different birthdays and all that kind of stuff, that person will not automatically be bumped from social media.
That's wrong.
And if that person carries on using it, if that youth carries on using it, the parents will not get into blame or anything like that. So again, for lots of people out there that are using it,
they're just going
to carry on. It's not going to get switched off overnight.
Yeah, so I'll tell you why I think it's unfair. I think there should be some level of responsibility that's pushed back at a parent to say, look, so that they at least check. Okay, your account will be suspended if your child, you know what I mean? Like you link it.
It's very difficult. When kids get to a certain age, I don't think you can't really control that much. I think it depends on your parenting choice as well. I'm the type of parent that wants to give freedom but with limits. Yeah, so I'll let them use devices, but with limits. I'll let them use social media with limits, so they can't go on any platform. They've got to give me a really good reason to go on a platform. But not every parent can do that.
This is true.
Do you know what I mean?
I'll be honest with you. I was expecting Joel to just say to us that the solution is blockchain, AI,
Yeah.
Raspberry Pi, and a hidden something behind a router.
It will work. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it that way.
I think an outright ban might reduce exposure to harmful content, though. But enforcement, like Joel said, and of course now with Faisal's input just there as well, I think that's going to be really, really difficult. We still have concerns around age checks, and then I think the key one here is the IT literacy for parents that you mentioned earlier on as well. I think these areas all in that cauldron together, I think that puts pressure on the platforms and the government, everybody together. I think just like AI, social media just bolted way fast before any rules could catch up.
Wrigley.
And
Yeah.
it's just happened again, hasn't it?
This is how long it's taken.
And I can't believe we've already got to the first ad break, so do stay tuned to Salaam Radio 106.2 FM. You're listening to The Tech Factor with Joel, Faisal and Akil.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
At Cake Inn, all our cakes and slices are freshly baked for that delicious taste. At Cake Inn, we bake 100% vegetarian and halal eggless fresh cream cakes. Delicious flavoured cakes for birthdays and weddings, ceremonies and all other occasions, with free customised messages, even balloons and candles too. Order for delivery or collection from Cake Inn, 489 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PE, and your cake could be ready within 2 hours. Find out more and order online at cakeinn.co.uk or call 01733 496 584.
What do children at Bright Bambini Montessori Nursery say about us?
I love my teachers and friends.
At Bright Bambini Montessori, we sprinkle confidence, independence, and stir the love of learning. From 18 months to 5 years, free funded places available.
Come join in the fun.
Call Bright Bambini Montessori on Peterborough 306565 or visit bbmc.uk.
At Masters Pharmacy, we put your health and convenience first. We offer free blood pressure checks and blister-packed medication. With our free same-day prescription delivery service, you can have your medication when you need it. We also offer travel vaccinations, including Hajj and Umrah, along with other services to meet all your pharmacy needs. For more information, contact Masters Pharmacy on 01733 567 208 or visit us at 303 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PH.
Already running a business but want to scale, boost profits, and free up more time for the things you love? The Progressive Business Network is where business owners, mentors, investors, and keynote speakers share real-world strategies for growth. Each month you'll gain practical advice, fresh ideas, and powerful connections to help you work smarter, not harder. Grow your profits, grow your network, grow your freedom. Join the Progressive Business Network. Visit progressivebusinessnetwork.co.uk today. Progressive Business Network. Learn, connect, scale.
Whether you visit the Berry Furniture Showroom at 78B Fengate in Peterborough or view and buy online, you'll be amazed at the quality and style you could enjoy in your home. With beds from just £299 and complete 3-2-1 sofa sets from less than £1,000, you'll also be amazed at their wholesale prices too. Plus, there's a 1-year free warranty on sofas and beds, subject to conditions. Find out more, click on Berry, that's BERRE furniture.co.uk or call 01733 300 517.
You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salaam Radio. Salaam Radio. 106.2 FM.
Welcome back to the Tech Factor live on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM. I'm Akil, joined by Faisal and Joel. Yeah, Faisal's actually in the studio. Before the break, we spoke about Apple's WWDC and the proposed UK social media ban for under 16s. Now we're moving to money. Because let's be honest, tech companies love to tell us the future is exciting, but somehow the future always costs £200 more than last year. So Apple has raised iPad and MacBook prices, with reports saying the company blamed rising memory and storage chips linked to AI data center boom. The Guardian reported that Apple said it had shielded customers from the increases so far, but had reached a point where it needed to begin raising prices on a number of products, including iPad and Mac. This is important because it shows AI boom is not just affecting people who buy AI tools. It affects laptops, tablets, servers, phones, cloud costs, business software, and eventually you and me, the customer. AI might be sold as an invisible magic, but behind the magic is real hardware, real electricity, real data centers, and real costs. And those costs do not disappear. They get passed down. So Faisal, when Apple says prices are going up because chip costs are rising, do you accept that, or do you think consumers are also paying the Apple brand premium again?
I mean, that's without a shadow of doubt the Apple brand premium. I mean, you're buying not the product, you're buying you could say, the feeling of having that product, aren't you, really?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So Apple sells on feelings, not on features, whereas Google and the other companies, they sell more on features. So depending on what type of buyer you are, and it's just the way the box opens. It's hard to open, all that research that goes into that kind of things. And most Apple... I was reading somewhere, most Apple consumers, they end up keeping their boxes.
Yes, this is true.
Right?
I do.
You do as well, yeah.
Every single
so,
one.
So there's a certain type of buyer. So that I agree with. The other thing about
Joel is smirking behind his big farmer's beard.
He's thinking, what idiots.
S26 Ultra.
You're really you're buying the box and the packaging. That's what you're spending your money on.
Yeah.
No, that aside, you could say the whole Ramageddon thing, with all the...
He's back!
With the data centers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both AI data centers and Apple. They're ultimately vying for the same product, aren't they? Silicon chips and the RAM. And the graphics cards and all the resources that they need, it's the same thing. So, yeah, there's a shortage of supply.
Yeah, and when this was announced, I think it's a company called Micron, they are Apple's partner, they actually came out guns blazing and said, they forced our prices so low, we weren't able to innovate or scale. And now that our costs have gone up, so for example, I think I read somewhere that, where we were being charged, Apple was paying like $5 for some memory, it was being marked up by 200%. Right, and so there's been these accusations flying. But my question to you, Joel, is are we seeing the beginning of a wider trend where AI demand makes normal consumer tech more expensive?
I think we are. I've also seen the phrase Ramageddon as well.
Great phrase.
It's quite widely
to illustrate that server grade memory has skyrocketed, 200-400% price increases. And people and markets are predicting that that's going to go on to 2028 and 2030 and beyond. They reckon that there's no going back to the prices that we were used to a couple of years ago. Is it solely down to AI? Not quite, no. So there's other geopolitical tensions and things going on around the world that does impact on, for example, the manufacturing process and trade deals, with where most of this is manufactured in China, and just generally the gathering of the raw materials to make silicon and like those kind of things as well. I do also think that there is a little bit of hoarding going on. So again, a little bit like the crude oil market, in the RAM market, the manufacturers now are artificially, have been accused, shall I say, of artificially holding, raising prices by holding back stock, to create scarcity, to drive prices, and then trickle RAM into into the world market. There is also as well two different types of RAM. as well. So the main two are DDR4 and DDR5. DDR5 is what everyone wants to be using, and it is apparently more complicated, to produce, certainly at volume, certainly at the volume that the world's currently demanding as well. So there's many different factors. You can't just say, boom, AI is the problem, why we've got high RAM prices. There's all sorts of other things as well that's going on.
Okay, and of course DDR6 exists as well.
Yeah.
In the world, and so what you're saying there is that we have. It's not as simple as just blaming one entity, are we? We're not going to say that, are we? What we're saying here is that, I suppose, if you looked at this from a consumer angle, then, so for many families, a laptop is not a luxury item anymore. It's homework, work, banking, communication, job applications, education. So when the price rises, there is a real danger of digital exclusion, isn't there? Because people can't literally buy these items anymore. And I remember when these prices went up, I was on these forums and just checking out some of the stories and reading content, and people were like, look, if you need to buy an Apple device, you need to buy it now. Because what's happening next, and as they made this announcement, Faisal, the same product that was $600 is $800, and it was immediately on their website. It was also affecting refurbished products as well, which didn't make sense. But the point which we're trying to make, this is nuts, right? So people were saying, look, if you're going to buy a laptop, if you were already going to buy a laptop, you better buy it now, because you're going to save a lot of money if you don't. So it's interesting times, especially given that they're going to be launching a brand new version of a MacBook, and I heard it's going to be an ultra version, maybe get a touch screen. That's going to be my arm, your leg, and your beard. That's what it's going to. That's what it's going to cost. And a kidney, yeah.
There's also lots of non-serviceable devices out there now as well.
Yes.
So again, it's not just silicon chips in RAM, it's silicon for other chips and other microprocessors and everything else that goes into making these devices work for us. I've also seen a price increase as well, but it seems to be the RAM that is, coined the phrase Ramageddon, and it seems to be where everyone's sort of pointing their finger at and saying, oh my goodness, isn't it now way more expensive? But yeah, I think there's definitely other things at play there. So when Apple turn around and say, okay, we're having to increase the cost of one particular device, that's because prices across that entire device have increased, not just because of the RAMs.
Yeah, but okay, as Apple users, a $4 trillion company can't absorb some of this. This is what shocks so many people. I get it, they've got shareholders and they've got a specific percentage mark that they need to. And people are saying that, look, I'll be honest with you, Faisal's come back today, and I was expecting him to say right now, look, just buy last year's model, which is not bad advice, only because Faisal still thinks the iPhone 8 is a modern device, don't you, mate?
No, not 8, but I'm on 16. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to upgrade to 18. Probably wait till the 19. Three generations later. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are going to hold back, and God knows what the price is going to be by then. Look, there's another side to this as well, which is, Apple and Google, are they giving us safe, trusted ecosystems, or are they controlling the market too tightly? Because they literally run these industries top down, whether it's through software or hardware. Are we getting our value, or is it literally just these companies, which they are obviously businesses, but they are effectively become, we have now got toll roads in the digital economy now, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so. I think that you can't get away from a monthly subscription, whether it's for whether it's for your AI agent or whether it's for just watching films and
that's
TV
the model
shows.
Now.
That's it.
Okay, thanks,
having
guys.
Heated seats even.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, the BMW.
Talking about that. Yeah.
Right. So I remember how that BMW 3 Series it came. So it came for the first year. It came with all these features like assisted high beam and heated seats, all the rest of it. And then when that 12 months done, I got an email saying, "Oh, you need to subscribe to this," and they would then on the fly activate these things. I was like, "Oh my god, you buy a car." And you're supposed to get all these features, and now I'm not getting these features. How does that make sense?
Yeah,
and that's what's happened.
Tech's doing the same thing with AI and various other bits.
Absolutely.
And pieces,
Okay, let's talk about Google I/O. Google's biggest message at 2026 I/O was that AI is becoming even more agentic. In simple terms, AI is moving from answering questions to taking actions. Google announced, Omni and Gemini 3.5, saying Gemini Omni can create from any input, starting with video, and Gemini 3. Flash, which by the way is really good. I use it almost every day. Is part of a new model of family combining intelligence with action. So Google announced updates around agentic experiences in search, Gemini Spark, Daily Brief, Gemini App, Universal Cart, Anti-Gravity for developers, Google Pics. I mean, it was everywhere. Intelligent Eyewear and Ask YouTube. So in plain English, Google does not just want AI to answer you. Google wants AI to shop for you, plan for you, search for you, summarize for you, build for you, create for you, possibly decide for you. The future Google is building is not a search box anymore. It is an assistant between you and the internet. And that changes everything. Joel?
Yeah, it does. We've talked about this before, and we're going to say to it again, but it is one of, I think, the biggest human profiling projects about how our lives work and operate in order to sell us more stuff.
Oh,
ever
yes.
seen.
He has gone down Conspiracy Avenue.
Love it. Love it.
What do you think of that?
I think it could go down that route, especially with who pays into advertising on those platforms. So if you're looking for a certain thing, they'll always I can see it happening. There'll be a plug for something, some product or service while you're searching for something, or you're getting it to search for your holiday or whatever, and then there's a sponsored package or whatever in there.
It's interesting what you're saying. I just want to go back to what Joel just said there as well. Actually, I do agree with Faisal. I think that makes sense as well. So if you just go back to what Joel just said. So what we're saying is, for 20 years, we searched, we clicked, we compared sources, made choices. Now AI can somehow summarize all of those 20 years of data, making it convenient for us. But I never looked at it from that profiling angle, Joel.
So at the moment, when I do a traditional Google search, which, to be honest, I basically hardly ever do now, but I will see at the top ads, yeah? Mm-hmm. Ads. This is a sponsored person. This person has paid to be at top of page number 1, yeah? Pay-per-click and all the other kind of traditional models. When I talk to my AI about a product, I don't know what it might be. It might be a phone or a car or a tablet or whatever it might be that I'm shopping for that day. I feel it's far more nefarious the way that the AI can push particular products, yeah? So, for example, if I'm comparing 2 tablets side by side, I'm comparing like a Samsung one and a non-branded one, and on paper they look very, very similar, but Samsung's paid Google a lot of money, yeah? Their AI agent is going to be like, oh, well, you definitely want to go for the Samsung. And the way that it talks to you in a natural language about why the Samsung one is better than the one that you're comparing it to, you cannot take that agent's tone as being objective, yeah? Because if someone has paid Google enough for their AI agent to say, this tablet is better than that tablet, the one that the AI agent says is better is the one that's going to sell more.
Now, I'm going to give you a real life example to that. So I recently got a Google Fitbit Air, right? And I've got an Apple Watch Ultra. So I went up to AI and I had this conversation, look, I want to get a Whoop. I want to get Google Fitbit Air. I've already got an Apple Watch Ultra, blah, blah. It kept saying to me, before I put the Apple Watch Ultra into the inquiry, I said, I want to get this, and can you compare these 2 features? And it just continuously said, for your health, because I gave it some information about my health, right? You need to get the Whoop because of these things. And I kept saying, are you sure about this? Because what about this? Have you compared this and have you compared that? So then it was like, oh, I have checked, but I still think you should get the Whoop. Then I put in, oh, I've got an Apple Watch Ultra, and I went, oh, that changes everything. Now now you shouldn't get the Whoop. But do you know what? For nearly 30 minutes, it was pushing just the Whoop at me.
Just the Whoop, yeah. You see, now, I don't mind being advertised to when I know that I'm being advertised to.
Yeah, but I didn't know.
But when I'm being naturally manipulated by a large language model for a particular reason, let's say that reason is because Whoop in this case has paid, whatever AI agent you were using has paid them, it's not appearing as an advert, it's appearing as trusted advice from someone that you're already sharing everything in your life with and asking them about all sorts of other decisions and things like that. So it is tricky. It's almost as tricky as looking at YouTube reviews knowing that person has received that Whoop or that Fitbit device for free and wants to give it a good review. Yeah, it's almost as sketchy as 5-star Amazon reviews that have clearly been put on there by bots and people paid to give 5-star reviews. Yeah, so again, you don't know what source to trust, I think, as well.
So what we're saying is that that means that the AI search is not just a convenience tool; it's becoming an information gatekeeper.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for the highest bidder.
Yeah, and if the answer is wrong, incomplete, or missing context, millions of people may still accept it because it appears at the top of the page, is what you're saying.
And it will just make it up as well, yeah.
Well, do you challenge, Faisal? When you're researching something to buy, in this, comparing products, you challenge it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a prompt I've got a master prompt. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
you mean you're not sharing it?
No, I will share it. It's in my chat GPT, where it will actually criticize, make a critique of it, and then also challenge my view or challenge the different opinions. And then it does give a view which doesn't necessarily agree with the normal standard.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'll share that with you after the show.
So, Faisal, do you feel that AI agents are the next huge leap forward, or are we creating digital assistants that sound confident even when they are wrong?
I've found them quite useful. I've recently used Anthropic's co-work on Claude. I've also plugged Claude into one of my email boxes and scanned all my sent items so it understands the way I've been responding. And now it's drafting my email, so I don't get it to automatically send. It drafts it and then I'll review it. That seems to be working well. It's saving time. I've tested it with, I was visiting clients, so I thought, okay, what's the best way of visiting these clients? Should I take a train or a plane or whatever? And if it's a plane, what options do I have? Normally that would have taken me a while to go through, whereas that thing did it. It took longer probably than what I would have done, but in that time I've done other things.
So let me ask you, would you then trust it to then book that flight for you and arrange connections and parking and just to finish off? So you've gone so far down that road and said, okay, plan my next business trip, get me from here to here in this time frame, and it said, oh yeah, you can do this and this and this. Would you then say, okay, book everything for me? Would you go that next day? Because presumably at that point you then took its information and then put it into bookings.com or whatever platform you were using to book the hotels and the flights and stuff. Would you go that extra step? Are you ready to do that?
Ooh, great question.
I think I am.
You are?
Yeah.
Ooh. If it very interesting.
If it, I mean, I'll try it with a personal holiday that I'm going to do. So when I do decide I'm going to do that holiday, I think I am going to test it and just try. But probably not the flight thing. Maybe I'll try it with trains or like a local trip to Edinburgh or something like that.
So you've got to you still want it to build your trust up. So this is what they were talking about in Google I/O, going back to the Google I/O theme, is that they are pretty much now at the point where they are going to start rolling out the ability to say, Google Maps, blah, 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 how do I get from here to here?
Yeah.
Send me directions, this, that, and the other, and then just say, okay, book my car parking, book my ticket to the theatre, book my aeroplane or whatever, hotels or whatever it might be, and it just goes off and does everything.
Yeah. I think I would. I think once I've verified, it's going to book this car park, or it's going to do this. This is the total cost. Shall I go ahead? And I think I say
yes. You can verify its trust. Yeah.
We're excited to hear the results.
It doesn't like add on another 500 quid for something else. Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is it. Or it books you a flight that you have to catch at 2 o'clock in the morning from Gatwick, and you're just like, no, I wouldn't pick that.
I mean, I've done that myself sometimes. So I thought, why did I do that?
I would trust AI to organise Joel's tabs, but I would not trust it to explain Faisal's WhatsApp voice notes, because that requires military-grade decoding. just putting it out there.
Very funny.
So what we're saying is that AI agents can save time, like it saves you time. It could help small businesses. It can improve accessibility for potentially disabled users. For some of the functions that it has, it can help people who have who struggle with complex forms or admin and digital systems. But we're waiting to see whether it makes a bad purchase through Faisal.
Yeah, I think I'd try it on a takeaway or something first. I'm not sure I'd try it on a flight or a holiday.
I mean, a lot of it's cost as well. I mean, co-work is expensive. By the time you've done all that, I mean, I was getting it to automate some scheduling that I do here, and I thought, after all that, the amount of time is taken and the amount of usage, I've caned the amount of, I think I was using Opus at that time. I thought, was it worth it?
Yeah. So I think the thing is with sort of big tech and changing of prices and things like that, I don't necessarily think that the price that we're paying for things like ChatGPT and what I pay for Gemini Pro and things, I don't think necessarily that price is going to change too much. But what it will do is it will reduce the amount of tokens they allow you to use before you hit your cap. Yeah, so I've definitely noticed that after Google I/O with my Gemini Pro, all of a sudden, if I'm doing work for the radio station or if I'm doing other work, if I then look at my stats, I'm just like, whoa, I'm at 75% already. Yeah. And yet before, that wasn't like a trackable metric at all.
Do you think it's because there's much more wider adoption? It has to be.
Yeah. Well, we talked about in the last show. What was it? 4,000 trillion tokens. This
it's
March.
It's nuts. Honestly. Thanks for that, guys. So what we're saying here is that this battle between is not no longer just between Apple and Google, is it? It's human choice versus automated convenience.
Heavy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very heavy.
Yeah, very it is.
Okay, let's unplug the Cat 6 and find a Cat 5. It's now time for cool tech stories of the week or the month. I'm going to look at my farmer friend, Joel, ready to take this on. We've got about 4.5 minutes. Let's go.
The future, as we always say on this show, is now. So, post-quantum cryptography, businesses have to start taking it seriously. Businesses have to start moving their cryptographic keys to keys that are post-quantum computer ready, because the quantum computing world is moving so quickly that sooner or later all of the cryptography that we've got out there will not work.
Correct.
And it will be broken.
Correct, and this is a huge. It feels like this. It's like it's slowly moving to Armageddon in some scenarios. I'll be honest with you. When I'm reading about this, I'm looking at some organisations, some industries. I'm thinking, you guys have no idea what's coming your way. You haven't still reacted.
Mate.
There's even now talk about the Bitcoin. If this isn't sorted, the Bitcoin encryption will get decimated.
Yeah.
It's on.
Cybersecurity landscape terrifies me.
We spoke about this, didn't we? I think we were on a show, I think maybe a year ago, we were talking about quantum computing. I still remember it. Probably in 2025. And we're in 2026, and a lot of businesses haven't moved. And like you said, once they find one financial institution or some other very sensitive organisation, their key is unlocked, then it's a race, but it's already too late.
Yeah,
it's too late.
You can't shut the door once a
no
stable door once a horse is bolted, and it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah, post-quantum cryptography. Major think tanks out there now are advising businesses start making the move.
And
not planning the move. Start making.
Are you seeing this at all? Is this being taken seriously?
Oh, no, it's not being taken seriously at all.
Wow.
No.
Shocking. Faisal, what have you got for us?
I was just looking at how Anthropic or the government has lifted that ban on the use of Fable amid with guardrails and things in place. So it just makes you think what it's completely capable of without any limits. But the amount of things you can do with that in terms of video generation and ads and creating social media content is amazing. So that's back in use now. Whereas previously, you must be aware it was restricted to non-US citizens.
Yeah, that's right. And it was a huge story. And I remember it was actually live for like 3 days.
Yeah, it was.
And then it was pulled because all of a sudden, like, oh my God, the stock market is going to crash and all our business secrets are going to be taken away from us. We need to do something about it now. There was a whole thing about how it should only stay in the United States of America. And it's a big, big thing. And it's like you said, guys, wherever there's going to be a market, stuff's going to come out. People want to make money.
Yeah.
Joe, what's next?
So there are a couple of breaches that I wanted to discuss. Nissan has been issued a formal warning that current employees' personal data has been compromised through targeted attacks, and also the National Association of Insurance Commissioners has also disclosed a breach recently, and both incidents have stemmed from the same zero-day vulnerability, which is affecting the Oracle PeopleSoft service that is tracked as CVE 2026. 35.27.3. It is allowing unauthenticated remote code execution, and basically, yeah, we're going to see more and more data breaches, theft of personal data, and things like that through AI. Because AI is out there hacking as well as defending and stuff like that. So.
Wow. So
Yeah,
it's like
so
a bit of a chessboard, isn't it?
A couple of big breaches this week, yeah.
Wow. Faisal?
One I found interesting was Tesla has sent an internal memo and put a spending cap on AI, which was interesting.
Yeah.
The fact that they're AI first company, the amount of AI that's in their products, but obviously they're seeing a lot of usage and the revenue being spent on that. So they've set, I think it was a $200 limit per employee.
That's interesting as well, because I know Microsoft.
Per week. Yeah.
So Microsoft had to rein in their employees because they were using Claude over Copilot. They were spending literally hundreds of millions or whatever it was, and so they had to pull that as well to say they can't use it because it costs so much money.
Yeah, Claude inside Office 365 is actually a lot better than Copilot.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll
we'll let
end
you
with
have that. That's it, guys. Thank you, Faisal and Joel. Thank you, everyone who's commented and texted this evening. You've been listening to the Tech Factor live on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM. Good night, stay curious, and remember, before you panic, restart the router. Faisal insists it